Welcome. I'm Lee Cowan, and this is Here Comes the Sun, a closer look at some of the people, places, and things we bring you every weekend on Sunday morning. Rob Reiner and Albert Brooks are both bona fide Hollywood legends, but they share a bond beyond just the entertainment industry. Turns out they've been friends since they were teenagers, a long time ago.
Rob Reiner and Albert Brooks met here at Beverly Hills High 60 years ago in a drama class.
This is the first time both of us have been back since we graduated.
Over a certain age, it's against the law.
Only for you, though.
Well, life works best when you remember. You remember, nobody bothers you. That's the way it was. I looked great. When you have to confront the actual people you were with, oh my God, who are you? You're my grandmother. No, you were in love with me. Oh my God.
They haven't been back, but they've remained close friends for 6 decades.
Later in the show, Albert Brooks and Rob Reiner debate whether comedy can actually be taught.
Can comedy be taught? Can you teach?
No.
You're both shaking it. No.
No.
Well, innate, funny can't be taught. But if you have that, you can learn technique. You can learn, like a great acting school can help somebody who has that ability to do it better.
Then from the Hollywood Hills to the North Carolina mountains, Conor Knighton takes a trip to the Woolly Worm Festival, held annually to predict winter weather.
Remember, this worm's going to determine how our winter weather goes.
The town of Banner Elk, North Carolina, home to the annual Woolly Worm Festival, isn't big on meteorologists.
We really don't even check the weather forecast after the Woolly Worm Festival.
Legend has it that the 13 segments on a woolly worm's body correspond to the 13 weeks of winter. A black segment means lower than average weekly temperatures, brown is average, light brown is above average.
That's all coming up right here on Here Comes the Sun. They've been best buds since attending Beverly Hills High School together some 60 years ago. Despite their long friendship, Albert Brooks and Rob Reiner only worked on one project together. That is, until now. Rob Reiner delves into his friend's trailblazing comedic career with a documentary years in the making. Ben Mankiewicz met up with the men for a trip down memory lane.
Remember,
Sooner or later, everything in Beverly Hills gets a facelift.
this is where we met, but of course, there's nothing left of it, just like our friendship.
Yeah.
Even your old high school.
We sat on that bench.
We did?
Rob Reiner and Albert Brooks met here at Beverly Hills High 60 years ago in a drama class.
This is the first time both of us have been back since we graduated.
Over a certain age, it's against the law.
Only for you, though.
Well, life works best when you remember. You remember, nobody bothers you. That's the way it was. I looked great. When you have to confront the actual people you were with, oh my God, who are you? You're my grandmother. No, you were in love with me. Oh my God, oh my God.
But you liked older women, so it brings back
Nothing.
no memory.
Nothing.
No memory.
They haven't been back, but they've remained close friends for 6 decades, as Reiner went from playing Meathead in Norman Lear's All in the Family
Care for an olive?
to a career as a top-tier movie director. This is Spinal Tap, A Few Good Men, Misery, When Harry Met Sally.
Yes! 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 Oh!
I'll have what she's having.
That memorable line came courtesy of Estelle Reiner, Rob's mother. Rob's father, legendary comedian and writer Carl Reiner, knew funny as well as anyone, and during an appearance on The Tonight Show in 1963, singled out his teenage son's teenaged friend.
He says, the funniest person I know is a 16-year-old kid named Albert Einstein. That was his
Albert
name.
Einstein. That's Brooks's birth name. He changed it at the start of his career because of the other guy named Albert Einstein.
I asked, believe me, I asked.
You did.
And all I got was, ask your dad, ask your mom.
Right.
Nobody would tell me.
His parents, Harry Einstein, a famous radio comic, and his wife Thelma never owned up to why they burdened their son with the name of the world's most famous scientist.
I don't think they thought, oh, is he going to get in trouble in gym class?
He'll live up to that. That's easy.
Albert Brooks met the challenge. He became the funniest comedian of his generation, relativity speaking.
He can't split the atom, but he can create energy through laughter.
Brooks's originality was on display as soon as he found an audience, mostly on variety shows.
I'm Dave, and I'm Danny.
Rather than tell jokes, he performed extended bits and created characters, like the world's least talented ventriloquist.
I'll sing a song while you have a cigarette. Great idea. What are you going to sing? One of my favorites, Swanee River. Great. Go way down upon the Swanee River.
It was like an elixir. I mean, it could make dead people laugh. It made everyone laugh. So I kept getting jobs because of it.
Here is comedian Albert Brooks.
Albert Brooks? Our friend, Albert Brooks.
Sir, Albert Brooks.
I think he's the funniest man in the world, Albert Brooks.
As Brooks kept working, Reiner kept pestering with a request. Let me make a movie about your life.
I've always looked up to you because, to me, there was nobody that did what you could do.
Reiner's documentary, Defending My Life, is currently streaming on Max.
Why did you make this doc now?
Because he wouldn't do it when I wanted to do it. What was the reason you at this time said that you finally said you would do it?
There's a lot of young people who, if they know me at all, they know me as a fish.
There's a mollusk, see, and he walks up to a sea. Well, he doesn't walk up.
Brooks voices Marlin in Finding Nemo.
I'm mixed up. There was a mollusk.
You just would like to say, you know, there's more to it.
Right.
And you can't yourself on a street corner, because that's mental illness.
Yes, you could try.
Wait a minute, I'm not just a fish. Do you know that in 1975, look, I got it, my car's here. I can't.
I knew all the things that Albert had done. I knew how brilliant he was. I wanted them to know.
There's a lot to know. In 1971, Brooks wrote a piece for Esquire magazine about the Albert Brooks Famous School for Comedians. It didn't exist. Some didn't get the joke.
How many applicants did you get?
2,000.
People thought it was a real thing.
I had a 2-page talent test, the silliest test you ever saw.
Now, he won't lie to
A year or so later came a short film about the non-existent school, a pioneering example of the mockumentary.
The pie here is funnier than if it landed in Area 3. But funnier still, and I think you'll see why, would be to make direct contact with the nose. That was funny.
Then came what might have been his big break. In 1974, Lorne Michaels was preparing a sketch comedy show for NBC. It became Saturday Night Live. He asked Brooks to be the permanent host. Brooks turned him down.
Can you imagine 50 years you're doing that?
Yeah.
You're 50 years just saying, Albert Brooks.
Right. Good evening. Yeah.
Instead, he made short films for SNL's first season, which led to his true calling, writing, directing, and starring in some of the funniest and most deliberately uncomfortable movies of their time: Modern Romance, Lost in America, Defending Your Life, and the semi-autobiographical Mother, with Debbie Reynolds as the title character.
Mother, the ice cream is colorless.
Look under the protective ice.
The protective ice? You've actually named the clear, hard crap that sits on the top?
10 seconds.
All of this in addition to his work as an actor.
This is more than Nixon ever sweated.
Most memorably, schwitzing his way to screen immortality in broadcast news.
Just how noticeable is this? Huh?
I think Albert Brooks is the Marx Brothers meet Richard Pryor.
But that's the greatest thing I ever heard.
Well, good.
Because that's 4 people.
Yeah. Wait a minute. Here we go. Look at this. Albert Brooks.
Back at their old high school, the two old pals find themselves on the wall of fame.
Look, see, there's me right there. There's me.
Friends, still making each other laugh. though don't expect a duet.
Oh, Beverly, we love you, our loyalty we sing. To thee, all faith, all honor, our praises we sing. Our custom traditions bring glory to thee. We love you, Beverly. Then there's the end.
We need help.
Up next, an exclusive excerpt from Ben Mankiewicz's chat with Albert Brooks and Rob Reiner. Something you can only see right here on Here Comes the Sun.
But I can tell you why comedy's harder. Because comedy is drama, but you need laugh.
As promised, here's more from Ben Mankiewicz, Rob Reiner, and Albert Brooks.
But before this documentary, only one movie together, just The Muse.
The Muse, he hired me. He was nice enough to hire me.
I was. And I think you offered me
I
Harry.
offered him when Harry Met Sally. He turned me down.
For what part?
To play
Harry?
Harry.
What part?
Yeah.
What
I mean,
I thought maybe the waiter. Yeah, right, yeah. You turned it down?
I was in the middle of writing one of my films, and I read the script, and it was, I knew it was funny. I was fighting for an identity at that time, and I was being called the West Coast Woody Allen. And the way it read to me and the music Rob chose, it had that New York Woody Allen feel, and I thought, this will cement it. If I do this, I'll just be Woody Allen, and I was trying to fight that identity.
Why were you trying to fight that identity?
Because I wasn't New York. I wasn't doing those kind of movies. Just because, there weren't that many individuals who wrote and directed and starred in movies to begin with. There was Mel Brooks and Woody Allen and, John Cassavetes and myself, and you didn't want to be a second of somebody.
Yeah, he's carving out his own road. I mean, he's a completely unique person, and we say it in the documentary. We talk. It's kind of a take in a way. We're in this restaurant, like in My Dinner with Andre, and with two of us talking. And at one point, I say to him, I said, you've been fighting for your identity and who you are your whole life. And he tells a story about an agent who told him, why don't you take the easy road? And he says, you think I see two roads. I only see one road. And so he wants to take the road he wants to be on. And that's what makes him great. That's what makes him unique and sets him apart from everybody.
What's harder? Like, is it, there's the conventional wisdom that doing comedy is harder. And that's peculiarly, then the Academy doesn't seem to like comedies as much. But you guys have both done both things. What's harder? What's more fun to do?
Well, for me, it's easier.
Comedy.
Yes, because if you have a funny bone and your brain goes that way, and Albert's same. I mean, but I like to, I don't get to do many dramatic parts. I've done a couple, but not many.
But what about making a drama? What about as a director?
As a director, I do like to make dramatic films.
But I can tell you why comedy's harder. Because comedy is drama, but you need laughs.
Right.
You can have a drama and have the audience sit there and not make a noise for 2 hours, and they give you the Pulitzer. It's brilliant. But if you have a comedy and they sit there for 2 hours without making a noise, you close the next night. So you need that reaction.
Yeah.
And you don't need that you need emotional reaction in drama, but you literally need, you need that thing.
Yeah.
So I would think comedy's harder.
That's what Ed Wynn said. Ed Wynn, very famous actor, said
comedy's harder.
He was dying. He says death is easy, comedy is hard.
That's right.
He had a very bad medical plan, Bob.
I know you don't have any regrets, but were some of these decisions, were they hard? Was it hard to say no to
terribly
Rob Reiner at this point where he's just one of the top 2 or 3 directors in the business?
Don't misunderstand me. I'm not stupid. I know when something is going to be good. So yes, they're all hard, but none of them were made like, well, this is junk. Never going to think about
those
this.
Those are easy decisions.
Yeah, no. When you think something has the potential to be very big movie, you feel bad about it. But, you know, the reason is real, and then you go back to writing, and you're back to what you're supposed to be doing.
Can comedy be taught? Can you
No.
teach?
No.
You're both shaking it. No.
No.
Well, innate funny can't be taught. But if you have that, you can learn technique. You can learn, like a great acting school can help somebody who has that ability to do it better. I mean, I had a wonderful acting teacher at Carnegie that taught about economy less and really explained it to a class that didn't understand it before, and why it's important and how to think about it. And, you know, I took dance and mime and everything like that.
And
but
you can't dance.
Yeah, but I did that mime bit because I took mime.
Yeah. I think you can't teach comedy, but what you can do, if you got a really good actor and there's a line that you want to get a laugh on, and if you have an actor who is secure enough to take a line reading, you can give them a line reading that will give the right spin to the line that'll get a laugh. But that doesn't mean you've taught them comedy. You just got that one.
But the whole idea of literally a sense of humor.
Right.
That's
you gotta have the sense.
I don't know how you teach that.
Up next, Do the Worm. Welcome back. Puxatawny Phil may be the creature most heralded for its winter weather predictions, but in North Carolina, they do things just a little bit differently. Conor Knighton took a trip to the annual Woolly Worm Festival to see how the fate of the state's winter is up to these fuzzy creatures.
On your mark, get set, go!
At this gathering of the fast and the furriest,
All right, they're off to a fast start. We got Chloe in lane number 10.
competitors inch their way to glory.
This is going to be close.
Speed demons with names like Willy Wonka, Worminator, and Dale Wormhart Jr. wiggle skyward in front of cheering fans and passionate coaches.
You got it! You got it! You got it!
There's a lot on the line. In addition to cash prizes,
$25. Thank you.
an entire forecast hangs in the balance.
Remember, this worm's going to determine how our winter weather goes.
The town of Banner Elk, North Carolina, home to the annual Woolly Worm Festival, isn't big on meteorologists.
We really don't even check the weather forecast after the Woolly Worm Festival.
Legend has it that the 13 segments on a woolly worm's body correspond to the 13 weeks of winter. A black segment means lower than average weekly temperatures, brown is average, light brown is above average. The problem with that is not all woolly worms have the same markings.
What we've done is broken it down, and we go with the greatest athlete of the bunch.
Tommy Burleson knows a bit about athleticism. After a career in the NBA, he moved back home to North Carolina, where Woolly Worm Festival co-founder Jim Morton asked the local celebrity to assist on stage.
When you race up the string 32 inches, and by the time you get to the top, it's right at a little over 7 feet. So
they need a tall person to pluck it off.
Exactly.
Burleson was on hand for the 46th annual Woolly Worm Festival.
On your mark, get set, go!
There are multiple heats and semifinals all weekend long. It's a spectacle that makes that groundhog in Pennsylvania seem kind of underwhelming.
They hold up a little rodent and it sees its shadow. This is scientific. Your worm's got to be strong enough to win all 3 races.
In the interest of science, we should point out that these are not actually worms. They're technically caterpillars, sometimes called woolly bears, the larval stage of the Isabella tiger moth. They can be found across the country, often on warm rocks or pavement when they head out to get some sun.
We found 3 worms, and then we put them through the preliminary trials.
We put them all on my hat, and we saw which ones climbed to the top first, so we knew those were the climbers, and we identified our winner.
Of course, everyone thinks they've scouted a champion.
You know, it was kind of a connection right away, and I knew he was the winner right when I saw her.
This is Hermione Granger. She's not too active right now, but she's warming up, and she's definitely going to win.
Spamalicious. He's going to take home the $1,000 prize.
That's right, the overall winner gets $1,000. these small competitors generate a far larger amount for the local community.
So is this a big boost for the economy?
This is a huge boost for the economy. It keeps some of our small business owners, mom and pops, they make enough money in one weekend to sustain them through 3 winter months.
Mary Jo Brubaker is the chair of the festival, which brings around 20,000 visitors to a town with a population of less than 1,500.
I think it's small town America at its best.
It's basically an excuse to throw a giant party. There's food and craft vendors. Mascot Merriweather poses for photos.
It's worms, it's competition, what's not to love?
We're watching lane 9 real close.
This year's top competitor was Jeffrey, entered by Brock and Maxton Wright. Before he can be officially certified, he must first be examined by the woolly worm doctor to check for performance enhancers.
Where does one find a worm doctor?
Do you want me to tell the truth?
Please.
He's my dentist.
The first 4 rings are black.
The official Jeffrey prediction is that it'll be a chilly winter in this part of North Carolina.
That's your winter forecast.
After the races, the woolly worms are collected and released back into the woods, where they'll miss out on most of the winter. They cuddle up in their cocoons until spring, when they emerge as moths. They'll soon be able to fly, and yet they will never be celebrated more than back when they could only crawl.
I'm Lee Cowan. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you right here next time on Here Comes the Sun.